Hello, and welcome back to the Delve podcast. Today, we're talking about chemistry in dating and relationships. What exactly is it, and do you need it to continue seeing someone? Uh, all these questions we will be talking about. I'm Allie. I'm a staff therapist here at Delve Psychotherapy of Chicago.
And I'm Adam. I'm the executive and clinical director at Dell Psychotherapy of Chicago and the resident curmudgeon today, I think, on this topic.
Yeah, Adam has some strong opinions on this, and I don't know, they might be like hot takes. We'll see.
I'm certainly not alone in these takes. A lot of the kind of influencers that are in the relationship space talk about this, but I think they're right. I think they're correct. So we'll find out.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens. Help us spread the word with this podcast. We don't plan to run any ads, so it's very listener friendly. We just want to add value and be helpful to as many people as possible. So please do share this podcast. It would be very, very helpful. Here at Delve Psych, we offer individual, couples, group, and family therapy. So if you're interested in a free consultation call, head on over to delvepsych.com. That's DELVEPSYCH.com. And we are in the Substack game, so do check that out at delvepsych.substack.com.
I just finished a big old series yesterday, I think. It's like an 11-part series on the philosophy of psychology. It's very dense. It's stretching my understanding and knowledge base as well, but it's like active stuff that I'm thinking and working on. So,
whoa, that's crazy. Well, I just finished the Love is Blind reunion last night. So who's doing the better research between the two of us, Adam?
We're both doing our part.
All right. So this idea of chemistry, it's very elusive. And often when I work with clients, it's like somebody will be really good on paper. A lot of their values are in sync, their life goals align, all these great things. But like in person, they're like, oh, just like the spark wasn't there. There wasn't chemistry. I was bored. I can't see this person anymore, is essentially the conclusion they come to. And I don't know. I think you have some opinions about that. So wherever you would like to start on this idea of chemistry.
If that's how you're thinking, if you've ever caught yourself saying like, oh, I didn't feel the spark, there's no chemistry, and you're sitting around wondering why you're single and why you can't find anyone, you're doing it to yourself.
Ooh, Adam, that's very harsh.
Yeah.
You might have got some strays with that one.
Yeah, I don't know if it's strays. It might be directs. So we need to be a little bit more humble about what we're experiencing in our bodies, in our minds, in our just sort of consciousness. I think one of the number one takeaway, you remember we did that episode way back when that was sort of the AI's take on the foundational kind of knowings of psychology up to this point. And one of them was this idea that our brains are lying to us all the time. They like what you're experiencing isn't entirely what you're perceiving, and what you're perceiving isn't necessarily reality. And we've got this sort of mentality right now in the world, I suppose, that suggests that these emotions that we're having are true and are giving us facts about the world. It's teaching us something about the world. It's teaching us something that's like true external to us. So I didn't feel a spark. I didn't find there was no chemistry. Tells us something ephemeral about this connection and its rightness or its wrongness for me. If I feel something, that tells me something true. There's verity in it about what is true in the real world. There is a connection or there is no connection. That's a terrible way to think of all of this. I promise you.
Yeah, I hear a lot of like, oh, I didn't feel the chemistry or spark with this person, so this must not be the person for me. That sort of thing. There's like a lot of buy-in as far as like, oh, if like this spark, whatever, this elusive feeling of chemistry, that is the truth teller. That is the thing that I should really go by here when it comes to dating.
And this is firstly, it comes out of this idea of romanticism. Alain de Botton talks a lot about this, but romanticism is essentially fed to us by the media, by movies, by books, etc., to suggest that there's some kind of magical connection between two people that decides that they are right or wrong for us. Again, let's be humble. If we look at other cultures, that's not how they date. If we look at history, that's not how people got together. And so there's some hubris to us saying like, oh, but now in the contemporary headspace we should date for love, and love is evidenced by these like wondrous feelings of butterfly, etc., and so on. No, it ain't. You're not going to find it. You're going to have a good time with some people, you're going to have fun with some people, you're going to have boring times with some people, you're going to have some fights with some people, you're going to be disinterested in some people, you're going to have all of the emotional experiences that a human can have in consort with another person, because that's what's actually going on. Is a relationship is all of these things, not just these butterflies, these sparks, these chemistries.
So, I mean, I feel like I understand what you're saying, but I also feel like in this context of at least like the United States of America, where we're at, it's a hard sell to people. It's a hard
Because
sell
we're
to
fighting
clients.
romanticism, because we've been sold so hard on romanticism, right?
Mhm. So should we not like, I guess my question is, like I have a client in front of me that's like I'm not excited to see this person again. Like I didn't feel anything. Sure, they're good on paper, and maybe we're aligned in some important ways, but like I was bored and I'm not really excited to see them again. Do I have to go see them again?
You don't have to anything, but who has excited you?
Well, some people that definitely like were good matches for us in the past have excited some of these people, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe you do have that chemistry. I think of like, okay, I'm a big Sex and the City fan. It's my favorite show of all time. And Carrie and Big have some great chemistry. Are they good for each other? I don't know. No.
So I don't know this particular reference. I know who a Carrie is. I don't know what you mean by a big, but
Mr. Big. Mhm.
Mr. Big. Okay. Um, I'm so sorry to all the listeners. But okay, yeah. But so who's excited you? It could be people that are disinterested in us, people that left us, people that showed no interest in us. Those are some of the people that excited us. And you say, well, but I want the person that excites me and stays.
Right.
And it's like, well, where have they been? Why have you not found that person? Have you just not looked hard enough? If you haven't been dating enough to find that person, go out there, prove me wrong. Um, but also, like, what is my own relationship with my own excitement? What am I expecting this person to do for me? What expectations do I have for them? It's just a conversation. It's just another human. They aren't a savior. They aren't magical. They're not going to rescue you from your feelings or your boredom. They can't any of it. It's just a person. It's going to be somebody that you spend some time with a lot, but you have the opportunity for all of the experiences: fun, joy, heartbreak, hardship, consternation, all of the above. All of it's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a little unfair to set the expectation of I must feel fireworks and butterflies and a resounding choir on this first date that you're having with somebody. I think it's
Beautiful. Yeah.
I think I think it's a little unfair to
But
put all of
also,
that.
yeah, you think about like, let's imagine that on a scale, you are starting off your relationship at that kind of a high with that kind of just enthusiasm, right? where are you going to go from there? What's going to happen? Eventually that's going to kind of dip and you'll be like, oh, we fell out of love. We lost feelings. The spark faded. Something put the spark out. And you hear these lines, right? It's
Yeah.
like, or did just time pass? And so usually when we're dating with this kind of mentality of like wanting that spark, wanting that chemistry, etc., so on, what we're imagining is something that starts intensely with that kind of enthusiasm and stays there. What adrenaline infused chaos trip are you imagining sending yourself on that you've got that kind of enthusiasm forever? So it's either going to start intensely and stay intense. I bet you all end up fighting a lot because I've had that couple a ton. That often ends up being a very high conflict couple, which isn't enthusiasm. It's emboldened, it's intense, but it's not necessarily enthusiastic about one another. It's usually quite frustrated with one another. Or you're going to have the one that starts intense and dips off, at which point you're going to be bored anyway. Your partner's going to bore you. Your partner's going to bore you. Your partner's going to bore you.
I guess it's just hard in those initial stages to know what to latch onto, right? Like you're going on dates with a few different people and you kind of have to make your choices as to, okay, who do I keep seeing and who do I kind of let go in this process of dating and whittling down who I want to actually like focus on and continue to date solely, if that's how you want to go about dating.
Yes. I can help.
Yes.
So go back to your goals, your needs, your values for your life. And you need to look at whether this person across from you is consistent with those in some way. They don't have to have the same goals, the same needs, the same values, but you need to have some basic understanding of theirs. They need to have some basic understanding of yours. And there needs to be some degree of kind of compatibility. This is the place I'll use the word compatible.
Okay.
Compatibility in our one another's ability to support the other's goals, needs, values. So like I need to know that I can help you do the things you're trying to do. I need to know that you can help me do the things that I'm trying to do. So when you're comparing a potential partner to your life, you sort of want to remember how you mean to live your life. If you're like, I want to travel the world and I want to live in different continents and all of these kinds of things, then you need a partner that's willing to do that with you. Or you're going to have a transcontinental relationship, and that those do exist, but you need somebody who's in some way going to support the life you mean to live, and you need to support the life that they mean to live. There's a lot of ways that you can do that. So people will get confused here. They're like, well, but I didn't feel the spark. For somebody who might just be solid, might just be stable, might just be there and supportive and caring, right? And then they'll think, well, I need somebody who's got they need to want to travel the world. Not necessarily. You just need somebody who's willing to support you doing that. And as you go through your list of things that you want them to do with you, keep that list very, very short. Keep it very short. I want to have kids together. I want to, but very, whatever it is, a very, very short list. When every once in a while, a friend will show me their list, their like no-go list, or what do they call that? Like the
deal breakers or
deal breakers list. Yeah.
Okay.
I had a friend show me their deal breakers list. It was like 40 items long. You're going to be single forever.
Yeah. And I do think there are some non-negotiables that you can have, maybe like 3. Is that a good number?
I'll go with 3.
Thank you. Okay. 3
as a heuristic, right?
Solid non-negotiables. Like you're allowed to be like, nah, I don't jive with that. That's okay. But 40, it's gonna be hard to find someone that fits all of that criteria, right?
Also, they're now in a relationship. Were all 40 met? Absolutely not. Were a couple skipped over that maybe shouldn't have been? Possibly, right? Like, so anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
And I go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, finish your thought, and then I have a thought that
I might need to tangent a little bit because I think I've got some work to do here to demonstrate that this claim that the mind isn't giving you real information about the world. And I have to do this in slightly neuroscience-y ways for a second. All right, so follow me for just a moment. At the end of the day, we are perception in, stimulus in, motor behavior out, right? Everything is kind of mediated by our brains, and the only things that come into our brains are the senses, the five senses, and you maybe say some interiority via the vagus nerve or something like that. So like you've got your five senses, they come into the brain. That's all your input. That's all the inputs into the brain of those five senses. Then all you can output is behavior. So you got senses in, motor output out. That's a brain. That's a human, right? So let's look at what some of those senses are. We know, I like to use the eyes as a really good example because there's so much happening with your eyes that you have no idea about. Did you know you have a blind spot in both eyes?
Where?
It's kind of right up about here. And if you have a plain white piece of paper and you put a tiny dot in it and you're able to get that dot in exactly the right place, the dot will disappear. So you should hypothetically have like a little black spot, like an out pixel kind of right here, thereabouts. So what's going on? When evolution was building our retina, they kind of built it backward. So all of the neural tracks are kind of in the front of the retina. The light comes through, it hits your cones, your rods are your cones, and then it goes forward. And so you've got all these cables that need to get back into the brain. They need to do that somewhere. So there's a place in each retina where you kind of have to, like, there is no sense organ in that spot to correspond with that part of the world where the optic nerve has to get back into the brain. So you have a blank spot in both eyes. Now, why don't I see an out pixel? Your brain sort of goes, it's kind of blue over there. Fuck it. Let's call it blue. It just sort of like estimates.
It fills it in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Allie, what are some of the colors that are in front of you right now?
Off-white.
Uh-huh. Do you have any other colors in your environment in front of you?
My green water bottle cup.
Okay.
and my blue mug.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great work. So if you look at me, are those in your periphery?
Yes.
What color do they look like when you don't look at them?
Blue and green.
Yeah, that's bullshit. You don't have color sensing organs that correspond to your peripheral vision, or at least they're not very heavily compacted. So you got two kinds of visual sensory organs. You've got rods and you've got cones. Cones can see color. Rods cannot. They're black-white. And the foci, which center the eye, or basically center the retina, are packed with cones. So all the color seeing that you see is via the cones in the center of the eye.
Okay.
Out in the periphery, you've got way more rods out there, just black-white. I don't need to see color out there. But don't you have the perceptual sense right now that you can see color in your periphery?
Yeah.
So what's happening?
I don't know.
Your brain is lying to you. It's saying like there's something over there that's sort of blue-green-ish. So fuck it, I'm going to call it blue, or I'm going to remember that it was blue and then input that into my model of the world. So one way that you can test this, it drives me nuts on a soccer pitch, but one way that you could test this is you could have somebody put various objects that are slightly different shades or slightly different colors that are in kind of the blue, green, or red, orange kind of category, red, orange, yellow category. Have them show up in your periphery without the ability to let your foci look at them and map them to your memory, and then ask you to tell like, what color is that? What color is that? What color is that? You'll fuck it up. You won't be able to do it. You'll be wrong, or you'll guess right on some and guess wrong on others. You do not see color in your periphery.
Whoa. But it feels And so I see where you're kind of maybe getting at with this, but like it feels so real that I
They
can
are.
see color. And so how do I tell myself that what I'm feeling it isn't real and to not believe what I'm feeling? Like because I think, and I want you to answer that, but I think like beyond that, like I want to kind of like get into this conversation of like what exactly is chemistry then, and like
Yeah.
if it feels real, do we just tell ourselves that it's not and just like
Yeah.
not take it into consideration at all, even though it does feel so real to us?
I
Yeah.
would probably ignore it, to be honest with you. In fact, be suspicious of it. Like, be suspicious of it. What is happening to me? If you've tended to pick bad partners, that chemistry is probably leading you astray. If you've tended to pick people that leave you, you probably love the chase a little bit. What is chemistry? So, it firstly, one of the way, God, there's so much to talk about here. Firstly, there are so many more of those perceptual examples, not even just with the eyes. And I would love to talk more about them sometime because they're freaking fascinating.
No, it's
But
cool. Yeah.
separately, um, there are also misinterpretations with respect to what's happening with emotionality. You got to remember, people talk about like the reptilian brain. It's a simplification, but it ain't a bad one. You got to remember that like through evolution, we kind of started off in something of a reptilian sense, and then we built out the limbic system, and then we built the neocortex on top of it. And so you're kind of this layered experience of qualia. We'll take the insular cortex, for instance, which seems to have it. Anytime you're ever talking about a part of the brain, it doesn't do one thing. It does 29 different things in a bunch of different ways in different systems and modes. So anytime you're about to say a sentence like I'm about to say, you're bastardizing what this thing actually does. I promise you.
Okay.
Just be humble. Anyway, one of the things that the insular cortex seems to do is it's got this role to play in the kind of emotional pain world. So, like, have you ever had an experience of injustice and you're like, ah, God, that hurts so bad? And they've even found that some people actually kind of report that there's a physical pain to that to a degree. The insular cortex is mediating at least part of that. Fish don't seem to have much of a insular cortex. This is one of the ways where you can start to kind of get a sense for what different organisms might be sensing, is you can kind of look at what brain structures they have. So theirs is pretty rudimentary. Ours is a little more involved. The dog's is pretty involved, right? Like the dog seems hurt when I accidentally step on her tail. She's like, "Why'd you do that?"
Yeah.
Right? But the fish, it's just not that smart. It's not that evolved. So, also brilliant book, probably one of my best ever, called Why Fish Don't Exist. Oh, so good. Tearjerker at the end of it, murder mystery in the middle of it, and a fair bit of ichthyology. Anyway, so your emotions are not what you think they are. And sometime we need to talk about Schachter and Singer, because theirs is probably the neatest, cleanest experiment demonstrating what emotions really are. But essentially, what I can promise you in brief is that under the right conditions and the right settings, we can get you to have whatever emotion we want you to have without you realizing it in a lab setting. It's possible. That was kind of what Schachter and Singer did. And you'll think that you are the one who is just having this honest perceptual experience. I did it to you in a lab, not me, Schachter and Singer, but still.
Yeah, fascinating.
So what emotions really are, I know I've got some work to kind of prove this, but we can do that episode sometime. What emotions really are is some kind of bubbling up of physical sensation that is strong enough that my brain starts to try to interpret it.
Yes.
So I've got physical sensation plus cognitive interpretation, or physical sensation that I then try to narrativize about. That's what an emotion ultimately is that bilateral process, that dual process. And so what might be the physical sensations that you might be experiencing in dating somebody? Well, I started with some excitement. That's going to be like heart racing. That's going to be like fingers tingling, galvanic skin response up, etc. And then I'm around them. What if they're just a very calming presence? What's that? Where's that energy going to go? My mirror neurons are going to help me bring that back down a little bit.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, I'm not excited. I'm calmed. Where'd my spark go? I feel no spark. They're nice, but I
Yeah.
just didn't feel the spark.
Yeah. Yeah. Versus like um, someone who like is very kind of touch and go. Maybe he'll text you back, maybe he won't. There's this game to it. It's going to foster some anxiety in you, right? And that anxiety can be interpreted as, I don't know, chemistry, spark. I'm drawn to this person. This person
Got the Lionel
excites
Bridge
me.
experiment.
Yes, but it's actually because isn't it true that the same physical sensations of excitement are the same as the physical sensations of anxiety? It's just like different
Absolutely.
interpretations of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, the physicality is exactly the same. This is why not Cannon Bard, what's the other one? James Lang. That's why James Lang theory failed. This is the first effort to try to explain what emotions were. Their whole thing was, well, the physical sensations will tell you what the emotions are. It doesn't work. It doesn't work because the physicality is the same. It's the
Right.
cognitive interpretation. That's what Schechter and Singer figured out.
Right. Right. So again, this like or with when you go on a date with a person that feels not as emotionally safe, right? There might be more of a spark because you're a little anxious. But you take that as, oh, I have butterflies. There's chemistry here.
Absolutely. So walking into a date, you are likely to experience some degree of excitement ahead of time. That excitement is just that same kind of up, hot, agita energy, right? If you end up encountering somebody that is hot and that is maybe a little elusive, then
Yeah.
you're going to have some nervous energy, most likely, because the cognitive the social interpretations are difficult. So you're engaged. There's a lot of attention. There's a lot of engagement. There's probably some physical adoration if they're hot,
Right.
and then they've got the simultaneous power through elusivity to create this sense of uncertainty in you and calm. Like, let's imagine that you're on a date with somebody and you're like, I don't know if they like me or not. They're hot and I'm excited, but I don't know if they like me or not. So I'm in that space for an hour, kind of performing, kind of checking, kind of testing,
Yeah.
drinking. I'm drinking a little bit. What's that going to do to all of these emotions? And then somewhere along the way, they offer a bit of approval. They say something like, yeah, you're pretty cool.
Oh, that's gonna feel like such a high. Yeah.
So now they've got the power to calm those nerves and engender that excitement. You're giving this other person so much control, so
Yeah.
much power in this situation. And by the way, none of what I just said has anything to do with your goals, your needs, or your values, and how you actually mean to live your life, and whether they want to have children with you, and whether they have the same dreams for whether your broader family is going to live close to one another, or whether you're going to have goats on a goat farm. Like, it's got nothing to do with how you mean to live your life. They're just hot, exciting,
Yeah.
nervousness inducing, and then stress relieving. Let's also carry that forward. So you get into this situation where you're dating somebody for a little while, and you've got this dynamic of they don't text for a while, they don't text for a while, they don't text for a while, then they show up.
Oh,
They're here.
yeah.
All that anxious energy, they created it, and they can wick it away.
Yeah.
You get one hug from them, and they say, it's so good to see you.
I
They
also
didn't
feel
do anything.
yeah. I also feel like if I could imagine that like waiting for somebody and then finally getting that. I wonder if that's too like some like dopamine hit of like, oh, I got this reward, you know, too.
Yeah. Oxytocin for sure. We got to be careful with the dopamine thing. I should rant about this sometime.
Sure. Oh God. Okay.
Because these every time we start talking about these neurotransmitter systems, we forget that they are everywhere and doing everything. And so it's just way more complex than neuroscience likes to pitch to us. Not to mention, sorry, brief rant. Even the reward system doesn't seem to really be a reward system. It seems to be like a desire, crave, strive system. It's not like it calms really when you get the thing. It does slightly, but mostly it just wants. It just craves. It's far more of a crave system than it is a reward system.
Okay. I like that reframe there. Yeah, so I guess to kind of round out this discussion on chemistry, I mean, it feels real, but it's a lot more than that. It can be like attachment dynamics, it can be anxiety, it can be alcohol.
Attraction, sex drive, hormonal changes in yourself.
Sure. Yeah. Whether you feel safe with this person or not. So it's just, you know, it can be a lot of different amalgamations of things. And so if you're finding that you've been choosing people that maybe the spark was sparky and it was exciting, but they ended up totally screwing you over and it ended up not being a good match at all, and that's been kind of the pattern for you, maybe try focusing more on, okay, is this person does this person jive with my goals, needs, and values?
Will they help me be who I mean to be?
Yeah.
And can I have the humility to stick with somebody who can do that for me, even if my maybe natural tendency is to pick a roller coaster ride that ain't gonna make anybody happy?
Yeah. Maybe fun at first, but then it just gets real loopy and you get sick.
Yeah, absolutely. Well stated. I have a question for you, even if we end up running long here a little bit. So you've indicated in the past that perhaps a few of your friends might go down this path. I know that a few of my friends might go down this path too. I'm just curious, as you've heard this discussion so far, do you think I've done enough to convince?
I think you've done a fair job at convincing. I do think that there is so much that we put on, especially in the culture in the United States, on the importance of physical attraction. And I think physical attraction can kind of be lumped in with chemistry. Like some people interpret like, oh, if I don't have these sparks or feelings of chemistry, then I must not be physically attracted to this person.
Sure.
And so I think it can be a hard sell, even though you've done a good job. I think there's still so much that we place on the importance of physical attraction in romantic relationships. And so I think it can be hard to sit in front of somebody and say, oh, like, don't care about feeling any sort of excitement towards this person. Like, it's okay if it feels totally boring. Keep seeing them anyway. Like, it is a hard sell. It's a hard sell.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's the non-romantic sell. I'm trying to get you to divorce yourself from romanticism. You are not in a Disney movie, and you're creating your own suffering. And what you can do is find somebody that is stable, consistent, and helps you be who you mean to be. If you do that, here's what I suspect will happen. If you can find somebody who's just stable and consistent, and maybe you're even a little bored with them, I bet you a lot of the feelings that you already have about your life come back after about 3 months. That sense of like, oh, I don't know if I'm entirely contented with the way that I live my life. Sometimes I get bored. Sometimes I'm a little bit unsure of whether this is important enough. Those kind of existential feelings are going to come back. we were probably trying to find a romantic partner to save us from those things.
Ooh.
And that's why we're seeking that excitement and chemistry and spark, is we think that they'll make life exciting for us. When they don't, we're left with, oh, I get lonely sometimes, I get sad, I get bored. If you're that bothered by boredom in a romantic relationship, you're probably that bothered by boredom in the rest of your life. And so I suggest to you the simultaneity of pick somebody who can be stable and help you be who you mean to be, but then you gotta be who you mean to be, which means build out the rest of your life, because this person ain't gonna save you.
Oh. Wow. Yeah, I have a lot of different threads that we don't necessarily have time for today. But yeah, I guess my only thing is like I don't think like we necessarily need to still date someone who we don't enjoy their presence at all.
Sure. I'll tell you what, we could go long on this one if we want to do a longer episode, because it seems like there's more to get into here.
I mean, there is, but like, yeah, because like how we pick our friends, right? Yeah, like there are people that like allow us to be who we mean to be, if we pick good friends, but we also enjoy their presence and their company. And so like I understand like it's a hard sell to be like, yeah, if you're totally bored, like still date somebody. Like I just feel like but there is a difference, I think, between like enjoying somebody's presence and having a fairly good time with them, and like this idea of there needs to be like a spark or chemistry sort of thing happening.
So I had the incredible experience of officiating two of my best friends' wedding.
Yeah.
It was one of the most important things I've ever done in my life, I think. And not only did I feel just such an incredible honor at being able to do that for them and with them, they also happen to be a partnership that I just deeply admire. When I think about what a partnership should look like, I
Yeah.
think about these two in part. I think that they're just wonderful, wonderful people. That's not to say I ain't gotten in fights with them. And one of them's a psychologist, and we fight about some of this stuff sometimes, right? But I want to talk a little bit. They've given me permission to discuss them a little bit. But let's talk about their journey, because I talked about it in the wedding ceremony. They didn't pick each other at first. He was really interested in her. She didn't feel that. She wasn't into it. And actually told her friend, like, can you tell that guy to back off? Like, he needs to chill. Could you imagine saying that about the person who's going to be your forever partner, who you're going to have? They were both weeping through the entire ceremony. It was one of the from the first line, from the moment that she showed up, he's weeping. And I remember somebody in the crowd goes, fuck, it's gonna be one of those weddings. And then of course everybody.
Yeah, like once I see like the bride and groom start to like tear up, it's over for me.
We're done.
I'm a ball of tears at that point.
Yeah. So tell that guy to back off. That's how this starts. Well, hold on, but what about that whole romantic story? Where's the chemistry? Where's the spark? Weeping at the altar, making everybody weep at the altar. How do you get there? They built a friendship. This isn't the only way to do it, by the way. I posted an Instagram on our thing where somebody was saying that they got engaged after 2 weeks. And like, how do you think that went? They're celebrating 19 years of marriage, right? There's a bunch of different ways that people could put this together, and we got to think more flexibly and more principled, if you will. I'm making up a word there, to understand what's happening. So they built a friendship, and they slowly got to know each other a little bit more. Now, he's got some very eclectic interests, my dear friend. One of them is Weird Al. He's obsessed with Weird Al. Do you think she cared about Weird Al at the beginning of any of this?
No, absolutely not.
But here we are, right? Like at this point, she understands the Weird Al discography better than most humans on this planet. How do you get there? I just decide to show an interest. I decide to keep an open mind. I decide to be like, well, what is this for you? It doesn't have to be something for me, but I'm going to keep my eye open to see what is this for you.
Right.
She loved hiking. He could have given a damn. I asked him the last time I saw him, it was a couple of months ago. I asked him, like, if your wife went away, do you still go hiking? He said, oh yeah, definitely. Did
Hmm.
you hike before? No, not at all. So, like, do we enjoy each other's company? Do you have the humility to take an interest in the other person's interests and see if there's a there for you? I've got some things from past partners that I was never interested in. One of them was interested in a particular kind of like fantasy series. I didn't much care at all. In fact, I'd kind of turned my nose up at it. But I started paying attention to it and just was like, well, what do you like about this? It's still in my life. She's gone. I had another partner who was very, very interested in RuPaul's Drag Race. I didn't much care, but what is this? I'm curious. I'm going to pay attention to it. I don't still watch RuPaul, but I get a much greater kind of appreciation for drag and what this culture is and why it's so important to people. And it's helped me in my clinical work with people that I spent that time watching RuPaul, which, by the way, a lot of people in the drag community are like, I mean, RuPaul, sure, but there's a much deeper scene here than just that. And it's helped me to connect with people that otherwise I might not have been able to connect with or understand at all. And so I carry that with me. She's gone. Right? Like,
Yeah.
I dare you to let these experiences and these dates be kind of a thing that you allow to change you a little bit. Show an
Mhm.
interest because these people do have access to things that you've never looked into that you can find interesting. You don't want to go down the path of just adopting whatever the other person's interests are just to adopt them. Some things you'll say no to, some things you'll say yes to, but like, don't go into a date being like, I don't like hiking. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Now we're just like standing firmly in our corners and not being curious. Yeah, no, because I've heard people say like that, our hobbies and our interests. I want to, on the very first date, or even when I'm perusing these like dating app profiles, like we need to have like the same favorite TV shows. We need to have the same like interests as far as like recreation. We need to have the same. It's like, come on.
Come on. Yeah. It ought to
Yeah.
have this air of, hey, I want to show you something. The
Ah,
whole thing ought to be, I want to show you something. Like the experience of coming into consort with another person
yeah.
is, I want to show you something. You'd be like, all right, I'm interested. Let me see what it is. And then you want them to kind of have that same tone for you. Be like, hey, can I show you this? And they'd be like, all right, I'll take a look. I
Yeah.
don't know whether I'm going to like it or not, but I'll take a look. It ought to have that air. One little caveat here, it does seem like specific interests seem to be a little bit more important within people that have autism spectrum disorders.
Sure.
They're like aligning with the specific interests do seem to matter a little bit more. It doesn't have to be the be all end all, but you need, again, it goes back to, do I have a way to participate in my thing? If I've got my thing, I need to be able to keep that thing and have it have a place in this relationship,
Right.
such as it is.
Right. No, I like that way of looking at it. Yeah, I don't know that like I think it just goes to show that like if you're willing to go into this first date open-minded, curious, not needing everything to fall perfectly into place like it does in the movies, like, oh, that's your favorite movie? That's my favorite movie. Oh my God, we're meant to
And that
be.
means something about our connection and our future. Fuck all it does.
I loved hearing about your friends that got married. And yeah, I
I
think one beautiful way of getting together is the we're going to be friends first, and we're not going to be romantically interested in each other at first. And it's just going to build, and we're going to realize, hey, we'd be actually really good for each other in that way.
Yeah. And what does it say to her too if he hears, hey, she's not interested, can you back off? And he says, okay, not a problem, and then continues to participate in friendship with
Yeah.
her. What does that convey to her?
Well, that I value you as a human. So even if we're not going to be together romantically, I really like you as a human, and I value you even just on a friendship level. So yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah.
I mean, how powerful is that as a
Powerful.
foundation for a relationship?
Yeah.
Just that it's so respectful. It's just so deeply respectful
Yeah. And stable.
and stable.
Yeah. Well, I feel good about where we're at with this conversation on chemistry. I feel like we've made good points, good arguments. Um,
Your emotions are lying to you all the time.
mhm. Yeah, and you said something when we've had a similar conversation about this topic, and you said that in general, we want to make sure that we're dating with our big brains.
I said that slightly differently.
Okay, what did you say?
So in the dating group lately, I've been telling people to date with their big ass brains.
Oh, okay, well.
So, but ever the slight censor for appropriacy.
I love how you had to make that adjustment. You're like, no, big ass brains, Allie.
You gotta make it stick for people. You gotta make it stick. Date with your big ass brain. Don't follow the whims of this emotionality. It's not a truth about the world. It's not telling you anything true about, gosh. You know why I get so impassioned about it? It's not because I want to be right about this point. Why I get so impassioned about it is I'm seeing people continue to recreate their own suffering over and over and over again. And when I hear someone, to be honest with you, this is a little vulnerable. To be honest with you, when I hear a friend say, I still think I need that spark. I've heard all your arguments. I still think I need that spark. I just get sad because I'm just like, my friend, my client, or my colleague, whoever it is, my family member. I'm just like, damn, you're gonna have a hard time here. Yeah, and I'm gonna have to watch you continue to have a hard time that's preventable.
Yeah. I guess maybe one last question I have. The the love that we need for a long-lasting committed relationship. Even if sometimes this honeymoon phase is said to have maybe some of these feelings of chemistry and sparks and whatever. And then it sort of levels off because it's not a will or won't they anymore. We've committed, we've settled down, we're in this thing. We come home together, we maybe live together now. It's Tuesday, and we're just, having dinner and talking about how our days were. So it's not as thrilling, whatever. But there's still I don't know exactly what my question was here. Can chemistry be created?
One of my own favorite relationship kind of journeys. Humor is obviously an important thing to me, and in this particular relationship, there was not an immediate kind of we didn't get each other in terms of humor. We just didn't get each other. And I remember being something like 2.5, 3 months in, just being patient and trying to understand how this person views this world. And that was the first time that we had one of those belly laughter kind of moments together.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I don't think we found each other funny. We just didn't. I would then say that like the way that we had kind of like built our humor together um was very unique and ours,
Yeah.
and wasn't there in either of us to begin with. That's a good proxy for what a relationship is. You don't find the right person. Ain't nobody a done product. And you're not just trying to purchase something here. You're
Yeah.
creating something with this other person, which means a little
Yeah.
of you, a little of me, a bit of us, and we create it together. And so like there was a silliness to it that we found together, that we built around, that we could then kind of co-create together. Does it look that way with other people? Absolutely not. Was it there from the beginning? Certainly not. You don't find the right person. You build the right thing with somebody who's trying to build with you.
Mm-mm. Yeah. And that connection, that stronger connection that of course we want in a romantic partnership, like I through having these like belly laugh moments with them and through having these more like deeper vulnerable conversations with them and maybe some novel experiences with them, like that can build and foster these like beautiful like feelings of connection to where your friends are up there crying during their vows.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, we've also got to remember, do not start dating somebody with the intention of changing them. And dating somebody will change them. You are going to change
Is
them.
going to be changed.
And
Yeah.
then the same goes for you. Do not date with the intention of just changing at the other person's whims, but have the humility to understand that dating somebody, being in that close a proximity to somebody, is going to change you.
Yeah. I think that's a beautiful thing to remember. Yep. All right, Adam, this has been a great conversation. One of my favorites, I think. Um uh new quote. Okay. Might your certainty be your naivete? I mean,
Apropos today's conversation, huh?
yeah, because I think if you don't have the humility to be like, you know what, I don't know everything there is to know about this topic or this conversation. Like, I'm gonna look into that. I'm not so certain. Like, it it could be naive to think, yes, I know everything there is to know about this thing. Maybe you just haven't asked all the questions there are to ask.
Yeah, I mean, it might just be you continuing to participate in your own biases as well. And to
Yeah.
some degree, that's not preventable. To some degree, we're going to do that. To some degree, that's just a thing that's going to happen to us. But that doesn't mean it ain't my naivete.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. I'm trying to think of there's something that people that are ignorant about things can come off really confident, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Really self-assured. Because there's something like in ignorance where it's like, I don't have to know. Like I don't like I know what I know
yeah.
and that's it. You know?
Well, and we are just wrong about things. I mean, has there ever been a hill you've been willing to die on that you then later found out you were dead ass incorrect about?
Sure. Nothing comes to mind exactly for me right now, but I'm sure there have been times. Yeah.
I know of my own. I know of some. I'll give you one. I'll be humble here.
Okay.
So I have taught multiple classes at the college level, including graduate classes in like statistics and research methods, etc. I've stood in front of people who have paid thousands of dollars to take a collegiate level course, and I can remember some of the things that have come out of my mouth that have been dead ass wrong. Now, sometimes that's because later information just updates.
Sure.
Sometimes I was just led astray. And one of them in particular was actually going back to the eyes and color blindness. There was a trend a little while ago of these companies that were trying to sell glasses that would help people that were like red-green colorblind to begin to deflect red-green signals more so that the kind of neuronal pathways that were mixing those two signals could start to differentiate a little bit more, and then you could actually begin to see certain colors that had previously been collapsed. That was the theory. And my rudimentary understanding of the vision systems and rods and cones, etc., seemed plausible to me, and I got taken in. And there's quite a lot of research that that's actually a hoax, that does not work. And to be frank with you, I think relative to the average human being, I understand the vision system in the brain way better than the average human being. But then if I talk to a neuroscientist about the eyes, like as I start to talk about it, there's going to be these slight imprecisions in the way that I'm talking about it that they hear immediately. It's like one word out of place. And they're like, well, that's not quite right. And so really, like we have to have that kind of, I carry with me into a lot of these conversations a kind of an understanding of my audience. And if I'm talking to lay people about the eyes, the vast majority of what I'm going to say is going to be way more accurate than what most people could pull off. But if I'm in the room suddenly with a neuroscientist, or one of them gets sent this podcast, they're going to hear some of that stuff I said earlier. They'll be like, eh. And I need to go into listening mode.
Yeah.
I need to be like, well, okay. So I gave you a pretty good heuristic that works fairly well, but it's probably outdated.
Sure.
And we probably have even more information now. And that little word that was slightly out of place, they're going to be like, well, that wasn't quite. And now we need to listen. So anyway, I know that I stood in front of graduate school classes before, and not graduate school, this was undergrad. But anyway, I know that I've stood before students who paid to go to college to learn from me, and I spouted that shit, and it was wrong.
Dang.
But I was mostly right about the rest of it. So what do you do?
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, being a little humble.
I hate it though. I think about that still. I still think about the fact that I taught that to a class in 2014. It drives me nuts.
Yeah. Well, maybe someone has corrected them along the way as they've spouted the things that you've taught to them.
Drives me nuts.
It's okay, Adam. We can't all be right 100% of the time. We can't.
Fine.
All right. I know you want to be, Adam, but well, thank you everyone for joining us for this conversation on chemistry. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, at Delve, we offer individual, couples, group, and family therapy. Head on over to delvepsych.com for a free consultation call, delvepsych.com, and check out our Substack at delvepsych.substack.com. We'll see you guys next time.
Hey, date with your big ass brain.
Date with your big ass brain.